So, yo, our soul is what gives us these superpowers, yo. You know, they make those superpowers come into reality, yo. Because you're not trying, you're not doing nothing, you're becoming, you know. But your soul, it's a house for, your body, yo. So, the body's like a door. You must open that door the right way to tap into the soul, family? That's what a soul is something that not everybody can act out of because the soul has been pushed so far into the water. It's like the Titanic. It's sunk so deep within you that you can't even pull it out of you or act on it because you don't know how the fuck to get there. You don't know where to go. You know, you're scared of going within yourself, so you push yourself farther into a deeper hole. Family. This is the best way I can give it to y'all because this shit right here is irrelevant. Family. But just think about that, chosen one. Everybody is gonna try to do things to make themselves feel recognized, or they want to feel like they are, real in your reality. But you must ask yourself, why is that? Why do people gotta feel like they need to push themselves out for you to look their way? Because they feel small. They feel like without your attention, they don't exist, yo. That's true, yo, because they're not operating under the soul. Their ego is crushed, yo. You crush their ego, yo, by simply not giving a fuck about nothing or no one. Because why should you? In this world, yo, it's only your soul against the world that has been trying to pull it and dim it, That's why for all the people, yo, who don't have souls, or for the people who are, let's see, ones with souls that have been, snatched from, their souls that have been taken from them, yo, because they don't know how to act on it. They will fight to bring your soul down like theirs. Because I'm telling you, fam, so much this shit is real, family. These motherfuckers are soulless, So the only thing they're gonna try to do, yo, is try to do things to irritate you, block you, or make you feel like you're stuck. But it's not them, yo. It's those entities that are housing up the body, So this shit is deep. But for you to understand what I'm telling you, y'all, you really won't get it unless you live it in it, That's what I'm telling y'all, family. You can hear the message a million times, yo, but if you don't live in this shit day to day, yo, you will never get what I'm saying, But now that you know that you have a soul and you're trying to act out of it, and that's where everything starts to fold and uphold itself into your position, because you're not trying, you're becoming. You're just sitting down and knowing that everything within you is truly power. So let's talk about the soul, yo, and the all-knowing of, what it is. So the soul, yo, the soul, you can call it fire, y'all. The soul is fire, It's why when someone irritates you or you don't like how someone's treating you, or let's just say something that you was doing that you wanted to feel good about, it backfired and it went the wrong way, or someone just tried to do some dumb shit to make you feel down or bad, right? You get heated up, you heat up, you feel angry, or you feel like you just want to take it down on the world. That's your soul, yo, refusing to bow down. That soul in you, yo, it's what gives you the ability to even think and act for yourself, yo, to protect you. Because your body, yo, has certain signals and it's in certain secretions to your soul for your soul to act, But you're not aware of this shit because you don't even believe that you have one, or you don't believe that it's real, So, in a way, you can say the enemy has deceived you, but trying to get you to realize that you were just an empty vessel appearing fleshly. But that can't be, family, because the soul is what helps you think deeper, y'all. The human and the comprehension or expansion of the mind, y'all, can only think so much on its own, y'all. Why you think there's people who can defy gravity? There's people who can levitate. There's a lot of monks in this world, y'all, that if they were to meditate, y'all, they can lift their body up with their own energy. The body's not doing that for them. Their spiritual essence and currency is doing that for them. But they couldn't do that, yo, if they didn't have a spirit, And the spirit must become one with the soul to fully, for you to see what I'm talking about, yo. But in order for you to get this far in your journey, y'all, you must stop looking for approval. You must stop asking people for things and for help, because these motherfuckers can't give you what you want. The only thing they can do, y'all, is pull you down or try to give you some false ass information, because they ain't doing it. They don't know, you know. But if someone doesn't know nothing, y'all, it doesn't mean you should limit your, you know, expansion to information, because there's so much in this world, y'all, that has been hidden from you, y'all. They didn't want you to know about vibration anyway, y'all, because vibration is an instrument that increases your frequency. You know, the world, you know, is sent out to destroy your soul, because your soul can take high frequencies just as it can absorb and adapt to low frequencies. But they're gonna do whatever they can to keep you at that low frequency, y'all, because then you're available. Then they can feed off your energy. Then they could fuck with you and get you all types of way, y'all. But you realize one thing when you go higher up in frequency. Once you do this, y'all, you stop giving a fuck about the little things, y'all. You realize the power you have within you, because you feel it. You feel like a king or a queen on your throne, not giving a fuck about what anyone's trying to do. Even if they're trying to bother you, you know, throw shade on you, or somewhat try to make you feel like you're less than. You know who they are, because you can instantly read them, because they don't love themselves enough to not give a fuck about you, y'all. You know, that's literally how it should be, y'all. Nobody should care about you in the sense to where they are putting themselves below the standards, you know. But it's not even them. It's the ego that has been crushed, because you're crushing it by becoming somebody who's rising above it, y'all. The people who live in egos, y'all, want you to live egotistical like them. That's why it will never work if someone lives in the ego, y'all, and someone lives through spirit, because they will always not necessarily have fights, but one is gonna feel less than the other, you know, because one's taking everything to the heart, and one simply does not give a fuck, because this life experience was taken and was sent down here to be enjoyed, y'all, to find peace and to open up to, you know, the unknown, you know, family. But I want y'all to think about that, y'all. Just think about that shit. You know, this shit is really deep out here, y'all. But it's better to know the truth, y'all, than to be someone who's living like the rest of these motherfucking zombies out here, y'all, that don't have shit going on for themselves, y'all. All they do is watch the news, wait for what's gonna happen, and they never gonna take action on their life, y'all, because they feel like there's no point, y'all. They have all been pulled into Hades, so they live in hell. Their soul dwells in hell right now. It's just their body can't comprehend it, because they're not fired, they're not burning physically, so they don't see it, you know. But that is true, y'all. Heaven and hell is right here, and it's a frequency. But your soul, y'all, your soul, once it wakes up, once it finds out the truth, once you feed it, you know, the sunlight, instead of feeding it, you know, decay, now it becomes its own battery. Now it becomes its own, you know, consciousness. Now it starts taking control of your body and doing what's right to help the soul, because the soul wants to live on. The soul don't want to fall or be erased or be forgotten, you know. The soul is so magnetic, y'all, that they will pay you $1 billion just for them to obtain what you have, because they don't have it. I'm telling you, this shit is deep, but it's real. And when you know it's real, yo, you move differently. Not with fear, but with precision and with observation. Because you don't know who to trust in this world, yo. Especially when these motherfuckers don't even have a soul for themselves to act out of, you know. You know, I give y'all this message with, you know, pure intent and no fear, but just straight what it is. Because, you know, through my experiences of living, y'all, I have realized that they have put me so low into myself that I would have never have woken up in this world, y'all, if it wasn't for the Most High choosing me, you know. A lot of people get mad that, you know, they're not chosen, or why was he gifted with this light and I don't have it? You must have not endured hard things as me, because truly, y'all, I was living at the worst of the worst, y'all. I was in the worst place scenario ever, y'all. I grew up straight in the fucking gutter, where there was nothing but violence, you know, and nothingness. You know, I don't want to give you my full life story now, but I will say it was hard, you know. I didn't have the lavishly things, y'all. I didn't eat all the time, because Sometimes you don't got what it takes to get it, y'all. Because this matrix wants you to go out in this world and do things for things, y'all. But you don't have to do nothing, y'all. Just vibrate high and shut this fucking world off with power, inner power, you know? But listen to this at your own leisure and do this at your own risk, y'all. Because I repeat, not everybody has what it takes to vibrate high. You know, they say they do. They say they're chosen. They say they want to be a star seed and shit like that. But you're not becoming a star who you truly were meant to be. Because the stars are going to shine on darkness. And even when these dark motherfuckers around you start envying you, start trying to be like you, start trying to do things to get your attention, you must realize that it's only propaganda, false advertisement, to make sure that you are never better than them in their mind, because they don't like how you do it without doing it, y'all. You do it, y'all, without saying a motherfucking word, y'all. You don't care. You don't. You know, when you wake up, all you think about is shining, helping the planet around me, y'all. This shit ain't got nothing to do with the next person that you are next by, you know. That's literally what it is, chosen family. But I give it to you with this pure fire because maybe your soul will feel a different type of way, you know. Even if you don't have the best diet or the best, you know, type of schedule that you eat by, it's better to be aware and think about this because, you know, you are feeding your soul information that it craves. Yo, your soul craves depth, it craves information, and it craves everlasting love, yo. Those are the three things that your soul feeds off the most. Also sunlight, because the sunlight helps the soul, you know, live through on you and not as a passenger within you, y'all. You know, the soul becomes a passenger to your body when the ego's trying to take control, because the ego wants to feel it's better. The ego wants to do things without thinking about it, y'all. The ego wants to control, but it's not controlling, y'all. It's those motherfucking nanobots these people have put in your foods to control your brain, to make you act out of a certain type of way that you are truly not supposed to be. You know? But this is what it is, y'all. And I'm always gonna tell you this: the people who live through spirit will always be stronger than the motherfuckers that are living through the ego, because your energy alone is enough to pull them away from you, y'all. They don't even like your energy, because your energy will naturally kill that ego if they get around it. And the ego don't want to be crushed, y'all. The ego wants to feel like they know everything. Damn, I just gave y'all a lot of shit, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I just fucking said a mouthful of, you know, fireballs, man. But I hope the real can't hear this, man, and relate, y'all, because, you know, it's what it is, y'all. You know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, but I'm also gonna tell y'all right now that, you know, this is literally what it is and what the world has come to, y'all. You know, everybody around you can be used as agents or as a host by Satan to get energy from you, to talk about things that don't serve you no meaning. You know, people gonna come around and talk to you about the fucking Matrix, but it doesn't, you know, don't take it to the heart when they do this, but just realize it's an attack on your energy, because these motherfuckers are starving for energy right now, y'all. They want anything that they can get their hands on, because they're bottom feeders, y'all. They live like crabs. And while you may be laughing at what I'm telling you, don't forget the fact that this shit is going on right now, and there's crabs right now trying to feed on light ones right now as we speak, you know. It should truly ache you and hurt your soul, because it may even happen to you as a chosen one if you feel this message, man. You know, that's why you gotta wear your protection out here. You know, a lot of people don't wear protection because they're not aware of the properties, or, you know, these properties alone may hurt your ego, because the ego doesn't want to wear this shit, y'all. It cares about how people look at them. But what do you want? You want self-elevation, and you want to feel, you know, free, or do you still want to be stuck with a chain that's invisible on your neck that you can't pull up because of the world and how it has turned you? You know, it's a question you must ask yourself every day, chosen squad. But this was the knowing of the soul, and why the soul was bleached and hidden within you deeper. Because if they found a way how to make you get another consciousness, so they found a way how to put a synthetic consciousness within you to keep your pure consciousness, you know, hidden from the world, because they didn't want me telling y'all this truth, y'all. This is the soul that I'm speaking from. You know, I have no ego behind me because I'm not bringing nobody up. I'm not worrying about nobody, and I'm not, eager or agitated by anything around me. I'm simply calm but ferocious with this message because my soul don't like how the world has tried to dim it and take it away from me. But I love y'all, man. It's the next one, I say.